carnival, it had no water, no outcry. It had no planes for carnival. They tell we to pray, pray. Tobago cannot be led under anybody who is only entitled to their opinion, but they have no say in what happens here. Brothers and sisters, the People's National Movement has a plan to continue the work that they have started. A plan to rescue and restore the island. A plan to put Tobago first again. A big, bold, red deal. This is not a promise. It is a commitment to enhance and revitalize Tobago, to grow our exports, increase our food production, expand our blue economy, guarantee jobs for the young people, plans for actual infrastructure around the island, affordable homes and land. This is a party that is building towards a future that all young people should want to inherit. A Tobago for all, booming in tourism, booming in entrepreneurship, productive in agriculture and poultry, and investment into you, the people, sure to reap long-lasting and sustainable benefits. Tobago people, one morning sun not dry, evening sun can't dry. They had 4 years to fix it and they make it worse. If given another 4 years, who will really be running the Tobago House of Assembly? Will it be the TPP or the UNC? My people, there may be nothing left for us but a broken economy. An island that has been completely sold out. It is interesting though, how they pick and choose who and what they respond to. It's time that we hold them to account for the 4 years that they had in governance. We cannot ease them up, and if they feel we forget all what they do and didn't do, we will remind them. $18 million spent on 12 ambulances. It can't drive up a hill, it can't drive down the hill, it could only drive behind a wrecker. Let her answer that.
You did.
$1.7 million spent for a stage in the sea, a bunch of overpriced stone and pitch. Let her answer that. $19 million they spend for the Palm Villas. The only patients there is fly and mosquito. Let her answer that.
You
$25 million in traveling and visa stamps. What are the benefits to Tobago? Let her answer that. $300,000 a month in rent for an incinerator, because it's either we could overpay to purchase or overpay to lease. Let her answer that. Over $19 million spent for the road behind the Port Mall. What was the procurement process? Let her answer that. Over $65 million for that Friendship Connector Road. No street lights, the road breaking, and 2 zigzag roundabouts. Let her answer that. How much millions of taxpayers' money was spent to compensate illegally fired workers? Let them answer that. They talk about the Scarborough redevelopment plant. They spent $7 million for a feasibility study, and yet they're on the platforms campaigning about this is an election promise, they're going to redevelop Scarborough. Where is the $7 million spent? Let them answer that. The sea bridge in a mess, the air bridge in a mess. What is going on with the Cabo Star? Where is the replacement? People of Tobago, let them answer that. Tobago, we cannot forgive and we cannot forget. $13 billion down the drain. Now more than ever is it time for us to band together, to stand up for the island, because those in power show that they don't have the gumption to lead us. Mason Hall South, Bagatelle, you have a chance with Mr. Dexter Anthony Miller. He is a true Bagatelle man. He is a God-fearing man. He is a community man. He has served over 30 years protecting the people of this nation with integrity, with courage, with commitment. He didn't answer the call to serve for self-gain. He answered out of love for you. He answered because he's a man guided by faith, ready to deliver for Mason Hall South, Bagatelle. Make some noise for your candidate. And next door to Mr. Miller is his sister. Somebody said petal for the people. Petal for the people. This is a woman who has proven herself time and time again. Tried and tested, but she remained true. She has stood alongside the minority leader for 4 years, defending this island. And it is time the people of Scarborough Mount Grace elect a representative that cares. We elect one that will work for you, one that you can trust will never desert you. Brothers and sisters, on January 12th, your mission is clear. Operation Put Tobago First again has begun, and it requires us, the people, to bring it to completion. Whether you're in Palatavere or Plymouth, don't even watch the name, just ram the X by the Balize. Whether you're in Belgarden or Buko, ram the X by the Balize. In Women's Licks, in Lakato in Licks, in Mariah in Licks, in Bagatelle is Licks, in Scarborough is Licks, in Roxborough is Licks, in Goodwin is Licks, in Bagatelle is Licks, in Bagatelle is Licks, in Signal is Licks, in Lambo is Licks, in all 15 electoral districts is Licks by the PNM. And on the night of January 12th, when Tobago is put first again, with Ansel in charge, to the streets we will march and shout loud and clear for all of Tobago to hear. Great is the PNM, great is the PNM, great is the PNM, and we have prevailed.
You did, you respect that.
If I talk alone, we not able. Every day I go wrong, I tell fable. Them are dead, half in a race, they're not able. But them are bring to the table. A fire starts, they're not stable. Nothing a worse is that take over. To be able to anchor the
yes, Mr. DJ.
December 6 people.
Pull it up. We are in a leadership crisis, I say. There is now created a leadership vacancy in the island of Tobago. We have no voice. We have no representation. All we are experiencing now is games and gimmicks and hoodwinks. We saw something come out one day. It was something about a watch and people commenting and so on. And I saw a young lady. The Bible tells us that faith without works is dead. Well, I want to say that she representation is dead. Because when Carl McEwen bring that seat home, I don't know what it is she going to do next. But what I want her to do, that young lady, I hope she listening. I know she listening because it does watch. I want her to tell us the 300 nurses that she say getting permanent, that she announced as a deflection from the investigation for them ambulance. I want to know why it is she only give out 75 letter. And she tell the 75 that they're permanent from the first. So the other 225 have no idea what is happening with their tenure. Only games, lies, half-truths and innuendos. So I want that lady who have no works. There is nothing she could say that she did well. I want she to come out on Facebook to explain. I call her the Secretary of Uncertainty because she never certain about nothing. She don't know what it is she want to buy in an ambulance. She don't know how, she uncertain about how to run the division. She uncertain about who to choose. But she come in here to lie to Tobago, to talk about 300 nurses. On the deflection, I want the investigation to prove that the procurement process for those ambulances, and I'm glad we in this district because there are some park up right up the hill. They park up right up the hill, grass growing below them. The next one in a back road just over there in a garage. If you see bush around it, over 18 million hard-working Tobagonian money. That is why I want them to come and explain. We're moving on this evening because the place hot. Say we hot. We have a leadership. We have a leadership. We have a leadership. But the PNM will full it on January 12th. Coming to the mic this evening, as we move on, another firebrand of a speaker. He's going to come now to continue to unveil the ongoing deception that we have experienced over the last 4 years. Welcome with me this evening, former Senator Lawrence. Lawrence Islop. Let's welcome him as he comes.
From the left to Bagatelle South, Bagatelle, Mason Hall South, Bagatelle. Mason Hall South, Bagatelle. Mason Hall South, Bagatelle. Mason Hall South, Bagatelle. PNM people, how you doing? You know the EBC trying to tire up people mouth, they only changing up the seat name and them, but we gonna get it right. Mason Hall South, Bagatelle. Ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, tonight is a night for a little bit of sober reflection. It's good to have the fire. And I have to give Jada credit. When they're young, you expect them to bring the fire. And then sometimes you have to have the sober reflection mixed in with the fire. But before I begin, brothers and sisters, let me first recognize a man who has led the People's National Movement Tobago Council through some rough times. On January 12th, will take his leadership to another level once again. It being in charge of Tobago, and as the slogan says for this election, putting Tobago first again. Make some noise from an Ansel Dennis. All other members of the Tobago Council Executive, we recognize you and we acknowledge your hard work. But brothers and sisters, we have a clear decision to make come January 12th in this electoral district. We have a clear decision, a clear decision between the current representative, or should I say, the current non-representative, and a man who, without title and position, has represented this district and has represented Tobago with distinction. And I know you know Dexter, and I know you know the work and the kind of personality Dexter Miller is. And if I were you, and if I had the privilege to vote in this electoral district, there'll be no choice for me but to vote for Dexter Miller. Vote resoundingly for Dexter Miller. Because this is a man who has a proven track record of service to his community. And not only about service in the other life that he had, which he was paid to do. And you see the thing about it, I remember a gentleman said to me, Dexter is the kind of person that if you have a dog missing, if your dog missing, no matter how much inspector or sergeant he was, if a dog missing and you call Dexter, Dexter mightn't be able to find the dog, you know. But Dexter coming back, calling you back later on in the night, the dog come back. And that is the kind of person you have in Dexter Miller. A man who loves people and a man who is about service. And so you don't have a choice. And I say this not only to the PNM people in the audience this evening, but I say it to every single resident of Mason Hall South, Bagatelle. You judge for yourself. And I'll ask the question again. Every opportunity that I have to stand on a platform, I'll ask the question every night. Are you better off in December 2025 than you were in December 2021? And if you answer that question honestly, and I know that there are a number of people throughout Tobago who can answer that honestly and say it is worse off now than then. And if you answer that question honestly, brothers and sisters, there is no option, there's no choice, but coming back into the loving arms of the People's National Movement. And so I want to get into something very quickly this evening because we have a pack lineup of powerful speakers today. You know, Kwesi has been treating with this CPEP URP issue. And I tell you something, it resonating, you know. Because whenever the other side answers you back like that, is because the point that you're making valid. And so the Chief Secretary is trying to say to Tobagonians, when the national budget was read, there was no allocation to the Tobago House of Assembly that spoke to CPEP and URP. But the chief secretary wanted to get up on a platform and say we had the allocation for the whole year. Well, I want to call out the chief secretary tonight and say if you have the allocation for the entire year for CPEP and URP, bring the evidence, let me see. Because I want to say to the people tonight that if you understand how the THA operates, you get your allocation quarterly. You get your allocation from central government quarterly. And so when you come with this nonsense about you have allocation for the entire year, who is it you're trying to fool? And I see a meme running about last night with a man on top of a mountain like Simba. On top of a mountain like Simba. Coming soon to theaters near you. The Lion King. Brothers and sisters, we're not trying to scare anybody, but what we're dealing with is a reality from a PNM platform. National policy affects nationally. And elections have consequences over and over. We're going to say that when you elect a government into office, the decisions that they take for the next 5 years affect every single citizen. And I saw everything going up down to the renewal of your permit and all. They moved from $500 for 5 years to $1,000. That is the kind of government we have in this country. And that is the government that the TPP is aligned to, whether they want to admit it or not. And I want to remind Tobagonians, it is a People's National Movement, THA, that created CPEP. God rest her soul, Cynthia Alfred was the brainchild of CPEP. And when she described the project or the concept of that thing to a national party, Mr. Manning said, we're running with it. And the thing became national policy, brothers and sisters. That is what the PNM does. And I hear they're asking this question, but if it's national policy, if we're in office, and it means Ologa had to stop it too. But I want to say to people, listen, the reality, brothers and sisters, is that because a change was made in April of this year, is the reason why you have thousands of citizens of Trinidad and Tobago who could not provide for their families this Christmas. That is the reality of an election decision. Thousands of Tobagonians, thousands of Trinbagonians could not provide for their families the way they should. And those people who are custom paying for your cylinder, your 100-pound cylinder gas, that gone up too. It was set in the budget, but the reality is come January 1, the price kicking in. That is the reality. Careful with the change that you ask for, brothers and sisters. And to tell you about that connection between the UNC and the TPP, we warned you in the general elections. We warned you that if you took God out of your thoughts and voted for Notse and Tomo, what you're going to get was UNC in a different color in Tobago. And that's exactly what we have today, brothers and sisters. I remember I said that if you take these two members of parliament and all they're fighting is 2 seats, there is nothing you could get really for Tobago if you don't align with the government. And the first thing Tomo and Notse did to indicate to me and Trinidad and Tobago that they're part of the UNC is to sit down on the UNC bench. And they had the audacity to say that Ayana and Shamfa was silent. Well, I don't know. If they call Ayana and Shamfa Mumu, well, I don't know what them two fellas is. Because I have not heard one single contribution of sense coming from the 2 members of parliament that now represent, and I ain't saying they represent Tobago, no, they're representing their own agenda. Because I want to ask Tomo and Notse, I want to know if all them increases that Trinidad and Tobago citizens facing today if you support it. If all them traffic increases and gas increases, because they did. They did. Because whether you like it or not, brothers and sisters, when the vote was called in the parliament, both of them say aye. And so every single vote, every single policy that is now being implemented by the United National Congress that is squeezing Tobagonians is voted and approved by Tomo and by Notsi, your member of parliament for Tobago East and your member of parliament for Tobago West. And that is the reality that we face, brothers and sisters. Them, you know, it's a movie called Silence of the Lambs? Right. Them two. That is all they're doing. No matter the nonsense the UNC talk, they're thumping the desk. Brothers and sisters, that is what we have. That is what we gave up Ayana and Shamfa for. That is what we gave up the People's National Movement under Dr. Rowley and Stuart Young and Penelope Beckles for. That is what we did in Tobago. And now we're suffering. They talk about going down to fight for autonomy, not a word about autonomy. Passing tongue today. I can't tell when last I see a line so long, waiting to go on the ferry. And you know why? Because we are one fast ferry running. That's a fact. That is what we're dealing with. And come January 12th, we ain't too sure yet what's going on with the cargo vessel. So we're waiting. But let that have been a PNM government in office that couldn't say exactly what ferry coming, when it coming, how it coming, what is the size, who own it, what is the name, how much cargo it could carry. Let that have been a PNM government in office. You would have heard the chief secretary, noise, up and down the place. PNM don't like it. Dr. Rowley don't like Tobago. We suffering. But what's going on now? Everybody silent. Everybody silent. From chief secretary to member of parliament. And now they want to come and tell you, give them the next 4 years. When you have secretaries who should be given an account of their stewardship over the last 4 years on a political platform, you can't hear nothing what they do. Because you know why, brothers and sisters? They don't do nothing. That is the reality. Because you go through every single division in the Tobago House of Assembly and ask me, after $13 billion, ask me what major project has been executed in Tobago. You want to know what is the biggest project that the TPP executed? You know, it's the only thing that they're building right now, billboards. Imagine, brothers and sisters, you cutting ribbon to unveil a billboard. That is the madness that passing for governance in Tobago at this point in time. When a government, just before an election, the week before an election, should be running and cutting ribbon to open thing, they're opening billboard. Over $10 million worth of money on billboards. They open one today. Down in Friendship. Trevor have 4 on top of Works Hill. He have one down in Codlall. And everything coming soon and proposed. If I as a Tobagonian had to depend on coming soon and proposed, I get nothing. Because they open a billboard, and I say it because it's big fanfare. Open a billboard in Bagatelle for Scarborough Sec. The billboard still there. They open a next billboard in Colon for early childhood center. No childhood center, billboard still there. You put up a big one before the last election by Rockleyville. Well, that did it long enough till he mash up and he fall down, because that is all they're good for. And now you're gone and you put up 4 on top of Works Hill. Everything proposed and coming soon. But I want to know who was in office for the last 4 years? That's what I want to know. And I want to tell Tobagonians, pay close attention to who coming back to you. Because they're coming and saying, give me your next chance. Because we wasn't too sure about how the thing was running before, but we told you that didn't know what it was doing. We told you. The other night, the chief said, get up on a platform talking about flights to Tobago and celebrating 1.5 flight. Because BA is the one and Condor is the half, because Condor does only come for the winter time. So you celebrating 1.5 flight after you promised Tobagonians 100,000 arrivals, in the first year, And you could blame the Secretary of Tourism all you want. The buck stops with the head and the Executive Council. You were a waste of time, Chief Secretary, by keeping a waste of time Secretary of Tourism in a position that she could not handle. And then you come telling me, come 2026, Caribbean Airlines go bring a flight direct from Toronto to Tobago. Come now, man. Who you fooling? Who you fooling? Why you taking Tobagonians for fools? You had 4 years with $13 billion to make sure that Tobago got what it wants. And then you're telling Tobagonians that the person who oversaw the mashup of Tital, who now sits on the board of Caribbean Airlines, that is the person who say, we're getting a flight from Toronto to Tobago. The lady couldn't manage Tital. Brought tourism to its knees on this island. And don't take it from me. If you don't believe me, talk to the stakeholders. Every single hotelier on this island complaining. When it's not the mismanagement and marketing, is the radar that has frightened people away from Tobago. And so the other islands, brothers and sisters, are experiencing booming numbers. And you celebrating a flight and a half. And the truth is, the BA flights that come, the flight that comes here, brothers and sisters, we share that flight with St. Lucia. And so the majority of the aircraft comes off in St. Lucia and we get the dregs. Because we've not done what is required to get our tourism product back to where it was. You had 4 years to do it. I know you're coming to tell Tobagonians, give me your next term in office. You will get a flight from Toronto. But the choice is every single one of us. The choice is ours. And if it is our intention to remain under this kind of pressure, if our choice is to suffer continually as we have been suffering for the last 4 years, the choice is ours. It is up to us. And so come January 12th, it's up to us to make that determination. And the report card, as I get ready to leave you, the report card for every single division is nothing. In Agri, nothing. In Comdev, nothing. In Tourism, nothing. Every single division. In Works, Trevor tries something, and we ain't get value for money on a road. When you pass down on the road, brothers and sisters, when rainfall, take your time. Because it have more swimming pool on that road down in Chauvin than it have in any Olympic competition. Take your time. And the reason for that, brothers and sisters, is that we paid over $100 million for a road and we ain't get a track properly down in Chauvin. Because the road falling apart, the road holding water. Value for money. That is the other thing that you have to consider. Value for money. Because they get it $13 billion, but ask them what they do with it. And as Jada rightly said, they travel all over the place. Listen, I show some of them passport done. You have no more space in the passport to take stamp. Passport done. Because if it's one thing this administration did well, it's travel. And if you want to re-elect them for another 4 years to travel, go right ahead. Because that is what they're good at. Traveling, making promises, and being in bed with the United National Congress. And they could deny it all they want. The proof is in the eating. And so, brothers and sisters, make no mistake come January 12th. You have a man with a proven track record of service in Masonol South, Bagatelle. You have a lady in Scarborough, Mount Grace, who for 4 years worked hard. And let me tell you something, Petal work, if you know Petal work in the PNM and start 4 years ago. Petal is a product of the Youth League. And so Petal's service, brothers and sisters, is not by chance. When you go up to Masonol North, Moriah, you have a man who know how to do work. They're trying to say he's trying to take the next fella walk in Masonol. I got to deal with he in the Masonol meeting. 4 years you're in office, you build 4 bus shed. We got to deal with that. And then when you go down, Palativia land some space side. You have a man whose intention is to be the David in this fight and get rid of the chief secretary, because I don't know about Charlottesville people. You look around your district, brothers and sisters, and tell me if that is the district of the chief secretary of the Tobago House of Assembly. Because I know when Orville Delano London was in charge of a district, Collar Hall used to look like district. That is what PNM representation is about. And so, brothers and sisters, from Charlottesville to Crown Point, come January 12th, your decision is clear. Just walk in the polling station. Wherever you see a Balize, just put the X, man. Though you don't know the name, just put the X, because that person has been chosen. That person has proven themselves to be a servant of the people of Tobago. And so, on the night of January 12th, I know we're looking forward to it, you know. But I want to say to us, if we want to look forward to it with great jubilation, we got to do the work, brothers and sisters. You got to find every single family member who disgruntled. And even if they ain't too disgruntled, once their face turn up a little bit, say, come, let we go. Just find somebody, add to the numbers. Add to the numbers, because this is a numbers game. Add it to the numbers, brothers and sisters. And so we can sing with a loud refrain, come the night of January 12th. Great is our God. Great is Tobago. Great is the PNM. Great is the PNM. And we have prevailed.
From Roxborough to Scarborough, we're building back our tomorrow. From Bell Garden to Banaccord, hope restored in one accord. And your mandate a stronger hand, putting Tobago first again. 10,000 jobs, a future bright. Homes for families, a better life. We kept the faith through every fight. Now the vision shining light. Hospitals standing proud and tall. Community centers for one and all. From fishing bays to farmers' hands, we gave new hope across the land. We're moving forward, not looking back. A new direction, right on track. A vibrant leader, bold and wise. With
Putting Tobago first again.
A brand new team,
Putting Tobago first again, ladies and gentlemen. As we continue in this very powerful meeting, I want to reiterate, and I want you to help me say it. We are in a leadership. We are in a leadership. Because Tobago has lost its voice. Tobago has lost its voice, ladies and gentlemen. Our leader, who proposes to be our leader, he professes to be our leader, but he's not answering anything. You cannot find him right now for an interview. He hiding behind cameras, not media cameras, but cameras in meetings. Because when you hear him now, the only time you hear anything from him is from a platform in a public meeting. is from a platform in a public meeting, and you hear him boasting about things that they never did. It is the most amount of recommissioning that I've ever seen in the history of governance. I wasn't even aware that that was a real word until I started to see it on almost everything that the PNM built. Recommission, recommission, recommissioned. They have not done any work, but they are riding on the backs of PNM policy. They're riding on the backs of PNM delivery. They're riding on the backs of PNM secretaries and assemblymen. And they want to come to ask you again to give them a re-election. They lie. Get rid of them. Because when they come to you, simply tell them Tobago has a leadership. And we're going to get people to fill that void. This evening we move right along. And we're going to bring a young lady to the podium who is bonding with this electoral district right over there in Scarborough, Mount Grace. We heard her a couple nights ago. Let the place fire up when she said that we fed up at the games with James. Right out. Welcome with me this evening, Minority Councillor Bagatelle, Daniel, Benoit.
You dig?
From Calda straight to we choose progress, we choose we friend to go first again. Real work done, now we go again. Hand in hand, together we stand.
You dig?
Lead the land. Tell the whole people wave your hand. Mount Grace strong, together we stand. Darrow Spring group at your life. Hardly and pushing hope to survive. Providence Road and Sergeant Kane. Government House Road feel the change. Friend feel link up, Cinnamon Hill. Scarborough Unity, Iron Will.
Mason Hall South, Bagatelle, good evening. Scarborough, Mount Grace, good evening. Calder Hall, good evening. If we are putting Tobago first again on January 12th, make some noise. If Mason Hall South, Bagatelle deserves better, make some noise. If Scarborough, Mount Grace deserves better, make some noise. And if Tobago deserves better, make some noise. Permit me to recognize the political leader of the Tobago Council of the People's National Movement, who will share licks like peas in Buku, Mount Pleasant, Mr. Ansel Dennis. Permit me to also recognize our minority leader, who will return as the representative for Darrell Spring Wim, Assemblyman Kelvon Morris. Your next representative for Mason Hall South, Bagatelle, Mr. Dexter Miller. Our fireman, the chairman of the Tobago Council of the People's National Movement, More Fire, Larry Paul. Other executive members of the Tobago Council of the People's National Movement, my fellow standard bearers in this Tobago House of Assembly election, children of God, People's National Movement children, children of Tobago, a pleasant good evening. So tonight, I am here with purpose. Tonight, I came to set up for the man who will deliver the kick-out punch to Natisha. I stand here not only as the candidate for Scarborough Mongrace, but as part of a team that understands what leadership and service truly requires. Over the past months, we have been walking through communities across Tobago, listening carefully, engaging honestly, and hearing one consistent message. People want representation that is real, leadership that shows up, leadership that follows through. And that is why tonight matters. Because when communities come together and when candidates stand together with respect and purpose, it sends a clear signal. This election is not about another chance. This election is not about egos. This election is not about noise. It is about service and delivery. Brothers and sisters, I want to endorse your next representative, Mr. Dexter Miller, and I want to speak directly about this servant leader. Mason Hall South Bagatelle deserves a representative who understands the value of community, someone who listens before speaking, and who is prepared to do the work long after the campaign signs come down. Dexter brings that seriousness. I say that deliberately because in public life, you learn very quickly who shows up when there is no applause. I have seen Dexter in those quiet moments, listening to residents, asking the hard questions, staying back after meetings, not because anyone was watching, but because the work mattered. And that tells you a lot about the person. Decades of service. Dexter was assigned to the Child Protection and Gender-Based Violence Unit of the TTPS. That is not accidental. Those assignments require character, compassion, patience, attentiveness, and a genuine concern for people, especially the most vulnerable. To work with children, to work with women, to work with at youth risk and the families in crisis, you must possess a deep sense of humanity. Dexter's service reflects a natural inclination to care, to assist, and to help people overcome challenging circumstances. And when you look at this district with its high youth population, high unemployment, and complex social challenges, you need a representative who understands what people face on a day-to-day basis. You need someone who can look past the exterior and identify the cry for help, even when people are afraid to ask for help. And that is what Mason Hall South Bagatelle need in a representative. And one of the things that earned my respect for Dexter is the general acceptance and respect he commands among young men across Tobago. And when you hear young men speak about him, they talk about how he treats people, how he never looks down on them, never condemns them, even when their actions are less than desirable. Instead, he seeks to find the good in people. He motivates, he guides, he believes in rehabilitation, not rejection. And that is leadership. That is the representation that Mason Hall South, Bagatelle deserves. And brothers and sisters, leadership is not about how loudly you speak. It's about how consistently you act. It's about discipline, accountability, and a genuine care for the people you serve. And those are the qualities that Dexter Miller brings to this race. And those are the qualities our community deserves. Brothers and sisters, I also want to recognize the leadership of our political leader, Mr. Ansel Dennis. Political leadership essentially in Tobago is not easy. It requires balance, resolve, and a deep respect for people's voice. Leadership must be grounded in service, not spectacle. That standard matters now more than ever, because real leadership is not about performing for a camera or telling lies or changing your clothes on the side of the road. It's about being an advocate in the rooms where decisions are made, especially when those decisions affect Tobagonians' lives daily. When critical inter-island transportation arrangements are being changed without clear alternatives. When significant security and operational decisions affect our airport, our seaport, and our economy. Tobago needs voices that are informed, engaged, and advocating firmly on our behalf. And those moments call for leadership that is prepared, that is measured, and focused on outcomes, not attention and not lies. So across Tobago, our communities are facing similar challenges. We want our young people to be safe and supported. We want our roads and public spaces properly maintained. We want opportunities that allow families to live with dignity. And above all, we want leaders who understand representation is a responsibility and not a title. In my own electoral district of Scarborough-Mongrace, residents have been very clear with me. They are tired with the promises without follow through. They are tired of the games, ride out James. They want leadership that listens carefully, works diligently, and remains accountable. And brothers and sisters, tonight, this election is not about one person or one district. This election is about the direction of Tobago. It is about whether we choose leadership that is disciplined, prepared, and rooted in community, or whether we settle for less, or whether we settle for lies. And tonight, as we stand together, we are saying clearly, Tobago deserves better. Tobago deserves better representation, better delivery, better respect for the voice of the people. And tonight, rather last night, when I stood with my fellow candidates, Kelvon, Karen, and our political leader, what resonated and what I was reminded is that our struggles are similar. They are not isolated. So what Mason Hall South and Bagatelle is feeling, Darrell Spring is feeling, Calder Hall is feeling, Plymouth is feeling, Blackrock is feeling, so too Buku and Mount Pleasant. The same hardships, different addresses. And the difference now is this. We have decided we are tired of it. We fed up of it, so we say ride out. Together we can deliver better. And I am speaking right now directly to the people of Scarborough-Mongrace. Firstly, I want to thank you for welcoming me into your homes, for your open, frank, and candid discussions, for the ideas, the recommendations, and the prayers, and also for the support. We listened, we heard you, and let me say this clearly, we didn't just hear you for hearing's sake, we heard you to act. And 2 Sundays ago, we launched our vision for Tobago, our big, bold, red deal. And our deal for Scarborough is as follows. We will construct a pavilion and upgrade the Eric Havel playing field in Calder Hall. We have heard the cries. We will reopen the Y zone because locking a building does not solve youth problems. Opportunity does. We will restore and repair the Calder Hall Play Park and create safe public spaces in Darrell Spring and Google Patch. We will create sustainable employment opportunities. We will support entrepreneurs with up to 100,000 in grants and 1 billion in loan guarantees. We will increase emergency food support to at least $1,000. We will create community safe spaces. We will provide home repairs of up to $100,000 done by local contractors in our community. We will provide youth housing. Youths 21 to 35 years, 100% financing because young people should not have to beg for a start in life. And to our farmers, we hear you. Up to 5 acres per farmer and 100,000 startup grants so agriculture can move forward. So let me ask you the question, brothers and sisters. 4 years later, $13 billion later, Bagatelle, you feel it? Bagatelle, 4 years later, $13 billion after, are you feeling the effects of $13 billion? Because if $13 billion pass through your house and you're still hungry, somebody else eating. Budget sounding sweet, but people lives still sour. Plenty press conferences, but no pressure relief. And that is why Tobago is saying enough is enough. So brothers and sisters, I want to remind you that elections are won on election day. So on January 12th, remember the symbol is the Balizé. The party is the People's National Movement and the mission is putting Tobago first again. So I'm asking you to vote for our candidates across Tobago. I'm asking you to vote for Dexter Miller in Mason Hall South, Bagatelle. I am asking you to vote for Kelvin Morris in Darrell Spring Wim, for Ansel in Bukumbang Pleasant, for Akil in Bethesda Lekito, for Shawnee in Roxborough Argyle, for Sterling the Big Dog in Bethel New Grange, for Karen in Plymouth Blackrock, for all our candidates and for yours truly in Scarborough, Mangrace, Petal, Benoit. And at the end, when the votes are counted and we are victorious, we will say, great is the People's National Movement. Great is Tobago. Great is our God. And we have prevailed. I thank you.
Hear them.
One man on a pulpit preach, another one in the classroom teach, another one on the TV say, oh my night it will be lovely today. And then the way they hypnotizing the youth, they say they talking the gospel truth.
Hear
A
them.
little old lady whisper to me, be careful of what you hear and you see. Half of what you see is just illusion.
Most of what you hear is not the truth.
Half of what you see is just illusion.
Most of what you hear is not the truth. The things they tell you will be convincing. deceiving. You must be wise to stay out of the fire, fire. Don't you look straight in the eyes of a liar.
Bagatelle! Most of what you've seen is just illusions. All of what you hear was not the truth, because we have a leadership crisis. But you see, there is an old saying that what goes around comes around. And then in the good book, it says, you will reap what you sow. Remember when he did say, let old people go home and sit down? They too disrespectful. Remember when it is he say, some all you knocking coffin. We don't all you in the party for the fight. Remember when he said that? He is disrespectful. Remember when in the House of Assembly, the highest office in this island, he look across and shout at another assemblyman, shut you. He is disrespectful. So don't feel sorry for him when Kamala say, Fali don't have no say. Because what you reap is just what you sow, and what goes around comes right back around. And that is why today we are facing this crisis, because he has sold the patrimony of Tobago and Tobagonians for 30 pieces of silver. Last night, the minority leader dropped a bomb when he showed a video with all the Namalco trucks lined up waiting to board the Cabo Star to come to Tobago. They had to do it quick because just now the Cabo Star not sailing again. I don't know what is going to happen to us here in Tobago. I don't know what will happen to us. And there is no fast ferry to help because the fast ferry itself break down. Ladies and gentlemen, before I bring on the next speaker, I want to remind us this evening, when the PNM-led central government was making preparations to buy the 2 brand new fast ferries for Tobago, this is the same UNC administration that wrote to the opposition leader in Australia to tell them to block it because they don't care nothing about Tobago. And this is the same administration who Fali have no voice for now because he has sold out Tobago. Ladies and gentlemen, we are ready to bring on the man of the moment. We are ready to bring on the man of the moment. Let us stand. Let us stand. I want the flag bent to the front. Let me bring we flags out. Because we making a statement here tonight in Bagatelle. We supporting Dexter Miller for Mayston South Bagatelle. And we bad. We outside. We standing with him. Let's welcome Dexter. Dexter Miller.
So we can start eating and stop the children from starving. We don't intend to stop it. Bacchanal, 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 all day, all night. Bacchanal, 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 until they make it right. There's pressure, too much pressure, too much pressure, too much pressure. The corner where we used to have a line, murder is killing all the time. Frustration, we hiding behind the door, eviction, but the landlord declare war. Pressure, 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 pressure. They promise to fix this thing so we could start living with our safe surroundings, but there is no easing up if they don't fix this thing so we could start.
family, good night. It is good to be home. Old people always say if a dog can't bark in his own yard, something wrong. Let me recognize, firstly, our political leader and the next Chief Secretary of the Tobago House of Assembly, Mr. Ansel K. Dennis, the minority leader who would have given a rest tonight because he deserved it, Mr. Kelvin Morris, and the next candidate, an assemblyman for Darrell Spring Wim, the candidate and my sister in service for Scarborough Mount Grace, Mrs. Petal Daniel Benoit, the fireman, the chairman of the Tobago Council of the People's National Movement, Mr. Larry Paul, and all other candidates, former political leader, Mrs. Tracy Davidson Celestine, and other party officials, good night. All proud residents of Mason South Bagatelle, a pleasant good evening and good night to you all. Tonight I bring you warm greetings, not just as a candidate, not just as a political representative, but as one of your own. I am Dexter Anthony Miller, your People's National Movement standard bearer for this electoral district of Mason South Bagatelle. And I stand here before you tonight humbled, honored, and fully committed not only to bring this seat home for the PNM, but to restoring real people-centered leadership to this community. I am home known and homegrown. I was born right here. I was raised here, educated here, and I still live here in this community. This community has shaped me. Everything that I am for today, I owe it to you, the people of this community. My brothers and sisters, this is not ambition. This is my duty and my civic responsibility. My roots run deep. I am a third-generation descendant of Albert and Victoria Miller from right here in Monkeytown, Cutler Hall, that greenhouse across there. I was raised by a single mother, Miss Yvonne Miller, and she who taught us dignity, resilience, and the value of hard, honest work. As a boy, the streets of Scarborough was my classroom. From selling produce with my grandmother to working late nights on the port or the wharf at that time with my mother, I learned from an early age that nothing worthwhile comes easy. Or as the elders would say, by the sweat of thy brow, man shall eat bread. And as Dr. Eric Williams reminded us in his historic Independence Day speech, to work is to pray. Those lessons, integrity, humility, and service, remains the compass that guides me today as a man and as a leader. My brothers and sisters, we share the same story. We walked the same roads. We faced the same struggles. And tonight, we must speak the truth. For too long, this district has been neglected. Too many promises made, then forgotten. Too many projects announced, then abandoned. Too many people left behind. This community left behind. After 4 years, I would like you to ask yourself honestly, and every candidate will ask you to question yourself and search deep. What has truly changed for you in the last 4 years? Mason South Bagatelle Where is the leadership that you voted for? Where is the care and compassion for humanity? Where is the representation that you deserve? In 2021, they campaigned with the slogan, "Let me fix this." But tell me, what did they really fix? After they won, they forgot. They forgot what they had promised. They forgot about the youth. They forgot about the elderly. And they totally forgot about the people of Tobago. Instead, they fixed themselves. They fixed their families. They fixed their friends. And they fixed their finances. While Mason, South Bagatelle, and by extension Tobago were forgotten and left undone, they weave a web of lies and deception for political expediency, personal aggrandizement, and self-gratification. A 4-year experiment of total failure and futility. Mason, South Bagatelle, no matter how this OJT team or party try to paint it, this is our reality. My brothers and sisters, we cannot sit and watch our island decline under an incompetent, self-serving, uncaring TPP administration. They are saying that the anchor holds. But in truth and in fact, the anchor is holding us down. It is keeping Tobago back. Let us reflect on a story for a short while. I just want to talk 1 minute about ships and anchor. We all remember the story about the Titanic. It was the largest, grandest, most luxurious ship ever built. It sailed with the best captain of all time, the most competent crew. Even the builder of the ship was on board. And along the journey, the captain placed watchmen in the tower to be alert for impending danger. And the captain went to sleep. I don't know what about these captains that just like to sleep. The ship eventually collided with an iceberg and it began to sink. And at the end of the story, it is the captain who was held accountable for the sinking of that ship. Not the watchman in the tower, you know. So to bring it back to Tobago, in 2021, Tobago set sail with a captain named Watson Solomon Duke. And as soon as the ship set sail, there was a mutiny on board.
You dig?
And a new captain assumed command of that ship, Farley Chavez Augustine. And together with his 12 crew members, Watson Solomon Duke was made to walk the plank. They threw him overboard. And after 4 years at sea, it is time for that captain to examine what has done along that journey. And just as the MS Titanic, fate would have it that the ship collided with Red Rock, but they didn't realize the Red Rock was called the People's National Movement.
You dig?
The color red is not accidental. And now the ship is sinking. Anybody remember this tune? Farley, the ship is sinking. Farley, the seas are rough. On the 12th of January 2026, Tobago must chart a new course. And with a new captain named Ansel K. Dennis and 14 competent, capable crew members, Mason or South Bagatelle, you deserve better. 4 years later, your lives have not gotten better. 4 years later, your districts have not been developed. And this is the reality that we must come to terms with, brothers and sisters. Fellow Tobagonians, tonight is not just about another meeting. Tonight, we are at a crossroad moment that takes us from stagnation to life-changing decisions. This election will determine the future of your children and your children's children. Tobagonians, I plead with you tonight, do not make the same mistake twice. Fool me once, it's on me. But fool me twice, something has to definitely be wrong with you. Under the TPP administration, there was no love. There was no service. There was no leadership. There was no care. And there was no representation. My brothers and sisters, leadership is not about titles. It's about lifting people as you rise. It's not climbing and leaving people behind. It's about keeping your word and not making excuses. Leadership is about respect and equality, not discrimination, not favoritism, and not victimization. And when leadership fails, you, the people, have the right and the responsibility and duty to change it. People of Mace North South Bagatelle, I did not wake up yesterday and decide to serve you. For over 30 years, I would have served this country and by extension the people of Tobago with honor as a police officer. I was the head of the Special Victims Department for this entire island for 5 consecutive years prior to retirement or resignation. I protected Tobago's children. I defended Tobago's women. And I stood up for Tobago's elderly without fear or favor. I intervened where others turned away. I spoke when many remained silent. And I acted because service is who I am. I often hear people say service before self. But I believe in true service, there is no self. Bagatelle, Frenchfield, French Fort, Bacalet, Kokowati, and across this entire district can testify that even without an office, I showed up. I am approachable, accessible, and I'm always present. My door is always open. My phone number is always accessible to anyone. That, my brothers and sisters, is true representation. That is the leadership that the PNM employs from each and every candidate. And tonight, I stand proudly with the People's National Movement because Tobago development bears the PNM footprint and fingerprint. Every school, every hospital, every community center, cultural and sporting spaces, Progress in Tobago carries the People's National Movement signature all over it. We may not be able to outspend them. We are certainly not or will not lie like them. But we have always led from a place of openness, courage, experience, and truth. Every single candidate on this People's National Movement slate has a passion for people and a strong record of commitment to service. In 4 years, the Farley Augustine administration has spent $13 billion. And again, I am going to ask you the question, Tobago. What was built? What has improved? Whose life has improved by it? And what legacy remains that you can relate to? Tonight I say boldly, Show me the report card. Let us compare. Some people will say chalk and cheese, but I would say plenty froth and no Morby. You know, long time when they give a big glass of Morby, you feel the glass full. And only when you put it in your mouth, 3/4 is froth, plenty froth, and no Morby. Them guys. My people of Mason South Bagatelle, under PNM administration, there'll be only action. It is our intention, under the leadership of Ansel K. Dennis, to deliver the first community center in this district, because there is none. We will secure lands from the 34 acres, which is currently owned by the Tobago House of Assembly at Bagatelle for public recreational facility. We will construct a proper pavilion with modern toilet facilities at the existing parade ground. How can you have a whole parade ground with outdoor sport and nowhere to ease human self? That is basic. You don't need no engineer to tell them you need to do that. But common sense is not so common. We will complete and expand the abandoned indoor sporting facility for youth development, sports tourism, and long-term employment. We will support small businesses, local skills, youth intervention, and entrepreneurship. We will ensure that our seniors are respected, included, and supported, and not forgotten, by creating a senior citizens activity center with some of the unused spaces at the old Scarborough Hospital. We will deliver real programs, not handouts. Sustainable development, no election gimmick. Our people deserves delivery, not dependency. We deserve opportunity and not one-off favors. You deserve a present, accessible representative and not an absent, unreachable, and disconnected one. Mason South Bagatelle, the choice is clear, and the only option you have is the People's National Movement. We cannot continue to accept almost expired food hampers, football tournament, and cleanup campaign as a life-changing solution. I cannot understand that you elect a representative. They have been paid public money, your money. And now is election time, they're coming to pay you to clean your place when that is their responsibility to do all the time. Something has to be wrong with that. We cannot continue to accept fear, victimization, and pressure into silence and behave as if life has to go on as normal. This is not the Tobago our foreparents envisioned. This is not the Tobago that E.N.R. Robinson, C.L.R. James, Dr. Jeff Davidson, Dr. Eason Mackenzie, and so many others fought for. The Farley Chavez Augustine administration continued to engage in baseless, unending, blame-laying, finger-pointing, lying, rather than implementing practical solutions to take this island forward. 4 years later, and Tobago is now in a state of social confusion and political uncertainty. 4 years later, and the present administration is still lost for ideas and have no clear vision as to how to take this island forward. But hear this clearly. What they have pushed Tobago into may feel like rock bottom, but rock bottom is not the end. It is the foundation on which the People's National Movement is going to rebuild and restore Tobago, come the 12th of January 2026. The leadership is ready. There are 15 committed, grounded servant leaders from Charlottesville to Crown Point. The time is now, and my brothers and sisters, as I close, Tobago deserves better. You deserve much better. Mason South Bagatelle deserves better, and your children deserve better. I offer myself tested, trusted, and ready to serve you as your voice, as your vessel, as your representative. Vote on January the 12th for every single candidate of the People's National Movement.
PNM.
I implore you to wake up early, go to the polls, mobilize your household, take every eligible voter to the polls to jam your ex by the balize.
PNM.
It is time for us to stand up and be counted. We choose people-centered leadership. Choose Tobago first. Choose progress. And I implore you, choose the People's National Movement.
PNM.
And when the final vote is counted and the victory is declared, we shall all say in one accord, great is the PNM! Great is the PNM! Great is the PNM! And Tobago has prevailed. I thank you.
PNM coming. PNM coming. PNM coming. PNM coming. PNM coming. PNM coming.
Let's hear it, ladies and gentlemen, for Dexter Miller. PNM. And
PNM coming.
might I say tonight,
PNM coming.
thank you, Mr. DJ. Might I also say tonight that he is the epiphany of performance beats, old talk. And you would have heard from many speakers tonight, ladies and gentlemen, some who, when they spoke about Dexter Miller, gave quite a lot to his credibility, to his humility, to his ability to serve. And when you come from the background that Dexter Miller comes from, for you to be put into the positions that he has been put in is because you love humanity. It's because you care about how people going through life. I had an experience where a number of young men who sat on the block, Dexter Miller passed one day and he stopped and he hailed. He said, how you going? I said, all right. And you know the best time to hear what people think about you is when you're gone. And I sat in the midst of these young men and they started a conversation. The first one said, you see that tall man? I said, What about him? He said, boy, watch me. That man is a police, eh? I say, yes, I believe so. He said, but he's one of the only police who you could relate to. He said, as young fellas on the block, sometimes tall man will come and he will talk to you. Sometimes he catch you with a little thing in his hand. We just put it on the side of his leg. He ain't even talking to you. He not paying attention about that. He want to make sure that you understand that in life you have to do the right thing. He said, even when he catch you dripping and you're slipping, he never condemn we. And this was before politics. And they turned and they said, anytime that tall man doing anything where it is he needs support, we will support him. So ladies and gentlemen, I'm saying to you tonight, Dexter Miller has the support of the young, the not so young, the older than the not so young, and I dare say the entire community of Mason Hall South, Bagatelle, because he's a man that understands service and he understands representation. And the best part of it all, that is PNM stock. That is what PNM always provides Tobago with. Quality individuals. Quality. Look at your neighbor and say quality. So ladies and gentlemen, we are moving into the next phase of this meeting. And remember earlier on, I said something to us, that we are in a leadership crisis. We are in a leadership, but tonight I'm going to bring a young man to the podium. You notice I put in my hand here. We are in a leadership crisis, but this young man, he is going to solve that problem. Ladies and gentlemen, you would have heard him on several platforms throughout this campaign. You would have seen him on television. You would have heard him in the candidate launch. You would have heard him in the unveiling of the manifesto. And we would understand that he is visionary, that he's a leader, that he's a man that when he says something, he's going to do it. And in the event of the leadership crisis that we are faced now that is a real thing, we fill the gap. His name is Ansel K. Dennis.
Me say them song they start support PNM today. Ansel now go play games no time. Him ready up enough fight your white people still a fight. Ansel no inna the talk, him a go fix every road fi walk. From Cudla Hall, right back to Mason Hall. Ask Macy about it, him nasty. No feel PNM come fi catch kicks. At 4 years them get dark and them waste it. So me just a sing back to basics. Vote PNM today. Ansel now go play games no time. Him ready up enough fight. So white people still a try fight. PNM, vote PNM.
Show me a voting finger.
Vote for PNM. 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 Vote PNM. 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 Vote for PNM.
Mason Hall South, Bagatelle, how you feeling? You're looking red and you're looking ready. And as I saw Sister Shamfa, I just feel like saying out and bad. Allow me to recognize in our midst the minority leader of the Tobago House of Assembly and our candidate for Darrell Spring Wim, Brother Kelvin Morris. Of course, our candidate for Mason Hall South, Bagatelle, formerly known as Bagatelle Bachelet, and the next assemblyman for this district, Inspector or former Inspector Dexter Miller. The next assemblyman for the electoral district of Scarborough, Mount Grace, Mrs. Petal Daniel Benoit. Members of the executive of the Tobago Council of the PNM, Chairman Larry Paul, PRO Lawrence Hislop. I think I saw General Secretary Akisi London, Lady Vice Chairman Nicole Henry, and other members of the executive. Our other distinguished candidates, former MP for Tobago West, Mrs. Shamfa Kojo Lewis. Former political leader of the PNM here in Tobago and former Deputy Chief Secretary, Mrs. Tracy Davidson Celestine.
other former members of the Tobago House of Assembly, you, the distinguished members and supporters of the People's National Movement, fellow Tobagonians, children of God, good evening. And of course, we are here at our final meeting for the year 2025. And I have to say to you that it has been a good year for the People's National Movement. Because notwithstanding the fact that we face many challenges over the 4-year period, I can say to you here this evening without fear of contradiction that the writing is on the wall and the people of Tobago are about to be rescued by the great People's National Movement here in Tobago.
Hear them.
Because even as we go through this campaign period, we are seeing a lot of signs, physical signs, because an administration is in the Tobago House of Assembly at this point in time, and notwithstanding the fact, the undisputable fact that they received from the central government $13 billion, they have absolutely nothing to show for that money. And I saw today that shamelessly, without remorse, they have resorted to cutting ribbons to unveil a sign for an agriculture project here in Tobago. And in my investigations about how much money these signs cost, because it is not the only sign that we have seen during this cycle. And I think the one today said, coming soon. Then there is one up in Bagatelle for the Scarborough Secondary School with a commencement date, a project commencement date of January 2024. Then there is another one down in Plymouth for an early childhood center with a commencement date of, I think it was sometime in 2024 as well. And then on top of Shore Park, over the Division of Infrastructure compound, there are 3 elaborate signs there indicating to you, the people of Tobago, of some future plans for some projects. And my information is that those signs cost approximately $10 million. And therefore, an administration that could deliver nothing to you for 4 years, on the cusp of an election, is prepared today, the 30th day of December in the year 2025, 14 days before an election. They were quite prepared to join together and to cut a ribbon to reveal to you, the people of Tobago, a sign. And I have to say to you that finally, they have something else to add to their track record of delivery to you, the people of Tobago. But the most insulting part about what I saw today is the fact that the Secretary of Agriculture unveiled to the people of Tobago what appears to be an agricultural project they're calling an agro-park or agri-park or something like that. And I spoke briefly about it last night. And that is the same lady that will be taking on our boy Dexter Miller in this electoral district. And elections are always about comparisons. And you have to compare the track record of people and the track record of the political party before you vote for them. And therefore, I want the people of Tobago, and more specifically the people in this electoral district of Mason Hall South, Bagatelle, to consider the track record of the current Secretary of Agriculture. Because I can tell you that I continue to maintain a very close relationship with all the stakeholders of the agriculture sector. Whether it be farmers, whether it be agro-processors, whether it be fishermen, I continue to visit them. I continue to encounter their problems with access roads, their problems with lack of support, their problems with the fact that none of those projects that was started by the PNM were continued under this administration, and therefore a lot of them have been left disappointed over the last 4 years. And interestingly, one of the farmers messaged me that billboard, because that is how I saw it. They sent me the link, and they said to me that they are completely disappointed. Because 4 years ago, we in the PNM started what we call the Farmland Development Program. And we allocated lands to farmers. We identified the contractors. We identified the funding, most importantly, $80 million. And of course, this administration chose to redirect those funds away from the support for the agriculture sector towards other things, such as traveling overseas. And therefore, after 4 years of failure, after 4 years of zero progress in the agriculture sector, the representative for this district has the audacity to come to you 14 days before the election to commission a sign to say to you that the agro park, or whatever they're calling it, is coming soon. And I want to signal to them that also coming soon, come January the 12th, is their removal from the Tobago House of Assembly, because they don't deserve to be there.
You dig?
But it is the level of insult and the level of audacity that they can come with at this point in time to put up signs. Because what were they doing for the last 4 years? And if they fail to do it, if they fail to even start it over the last 4 years, what gives us any comfort as people of Tobago concerned with our development that they are going to start it over the next 4 years? Because you see, under them, coming soon is not soon at all. Because when you evaluate their track record, it has been broken promises after broken promises. And I saw the chief secretary in a meeting somewhere last night or the night before, promising you, the people of Tobago, that a flight is coming from Toronto to Tobago. That same chief secretary in 2022 told us that there was going to be a ferry service from Grenada to Tobago, and that as well at the time was coming soon. And I can say to you now that 3 years later, there is still no ferry service out of Grenada. In fact, we currently don't even have a proper ferry service between Trinidad and Tobago, thanks to Mrs. Kamla Prasad Bisesa, who does not care one bit about you, the people of Tobago. So they have failed miserably after being allocated the most money when compared to any other THA administration in the history of the Tobago House of Assembly. And they have delivered absolutely nothing to you, the people of Tobago. In fact, let me take that back. They delivered some things. They delivered some things. They delivered a stage in the sea. They delivered a road for $100 million. that should have cost $30 million that has potholes now within a year of its completion. They delivered a roundabout with, and normally you spell roundabout R-O-U-N-D, about. This one is spelled W-R-O-N-G. E-D, round, about. Because everything about that roundabout is wrong. No pedestrian crossing. It is the first roundabout that I see. When you make the roundabout, you have to make a swerve. Right? So they delivered that. They're calling that development. Let's continue. 4 bus sheds. They refurbished about 3 tennis courts. And in addition to that, more recently, they delivered 6 signs to you, the people of Tobago. And my question to you is, coming from previous arrangements where under the PNM, in one term you got a Roxborough hospital. In that same term you got new community centers. In that same term you got bridges. In that same term you got new roads. In that same term you got all kinds of development. In that same term, your economy in Tobago was booming because we ensured that when we received Tobago people's money, we spent Tobago's people's money in a way that benefited you, the people of Tobago, by putting Tobago's interests first. So in this term, more money was allocated and you, the people of Tobago, are under more pressure. How could that be? And my mother have something she used to say, more pan more. Because you're under pressure in Tobago from, what's the name I gave him last night? The Lion King. You're under pressure from him. And then now you have Mrs. Kamla Persad-Bissessa pressuring us with radar, double the price to renew your licensing. And I am happy that I renewed my driver's license a couple days ago, because if I waited until after the 1st of January 2026, I would be paying $1,000 instead of $500. They removed the demerit points, calling the system oppressive, then came now and doubled every single traffic fine under the law. On top of that, I am seeing now where we have one fast ferry operating the sea bridge. In addition to that, Caribbean Airlines have suddenly collapsed, where in times past under the PNM, you had very minimal delays. I am told now, and as I experienced recently for myself, every single day is delays 2 hours, 3 hours, and more. So within 1 year of being elected into office, they have collapsed the sea bridge. They have collapsed the air bridge. They have brought more pressure upon you, the people of Tobago. So it's pressure in Tobago from the THA and pressure from in Trinidad from Mrs. Kamla Persad-Bissessa. And I'm saying to you, the people of Tobago, can you continue to support that for another 4 years? Because you see, what they are trying to tell you as well is that they had to spend 4 years fixing some mysterious mess that the PNM created for 21 years. So they need the extra 4 years to now start to work for you. Let me tell you something. The mess in Tobago has now started. Because let's look at it carefully. We had, for example, an agriculture sector where every single year $20+ million was spent on the Access Road program to keep farmers on their lands with proper roads and decent access to their farms. Under this administration, that program was squashed. That is a mess. In addition to that, we started the farmland development program. They came in and they canceled that. That is what you call mess. In addition to that, right down in Bagatelle, we started the indoor sporting complex so that our young people, sportsmen and women here in Tobago could have access to a decent indoor sporting facility. Guess what? They scrapped that. That is what you call mess. In addition to that, go up to Goodwood. The people of Goodwood, we started their pavilion. We promised them their pavilion within 18 months after starting it. And 4 years later, it is overgrown with bush, overrun with rodents. That is what you call mess. We had a situation where every single major project in Tobago was done by a Tobago contractor and creating employment for young Tobagonians, especially the young men who are now unemployed, sitting on blocks and having to depend on Farley and them for 10 days here and 10 days there. They destroyed the construction sector completely. That is what you call mess. And I'm saying under the PNM, Tobago was striving, and now over the last 4 years, they have made a total mess of Tobago and the Tobago House of Assembly. So what mess they had to clean up? In fact, they had it too easy, because thanks to the PNM, they didn't have to build one community center in Tobago, because we built enough. Almost every single community here in Tobago has a community center. Thanks to the PNM, they didn't have to fight up to build one more hospital in Tobago, because the PNM built 2, one in Signal Hill and one up in Roxborough most recently. Thanks to the PNM, they got everything handed to them on a platter, and they just had to come in and continue to manage the place. But instead, they have created a total mess of Tobago and the Tobago House of Assembly. And therefore, it is now the PNM, as we accustomed doing, to come in and fix it. Because it happened nationally before. You all voted for a people's partnership government at the national level in 2010, and they destroyed the entire country. They thieved every single cent out of the treasury, from Lysport to $7 million to pull a fire truck that ran off the road. They thieved until they couldn't thieve anything else. And it was the PNM that had to come into office and rebuild Trinidad and Tobago over a period of 10 years. And guess what? We take with good self back in April, elected the People's Partnership, because that is how they're still behaving, like the same People's Partnership, still corrupt, still irresponsible, still does not care about you, the people of Tobago, and within 1 year, the country has almost collapsed. And I'm saying to you, the people of Tobago, and to the people of this country, that redemption draweth nigh. Because the rescue of Trinidad and Tobago must start with the rescue of you, the people of Tobago. And therefore, we did not just sit down and watch the mess taking place. Of course, we brought it to your attention. The minority leader did a fantastic job as minority leader, bringing to your attention their irresponsibility, asking them questions, and by the end of the term, there were approximately 46 questions on the order paper that they failed to answer. So we sat there doing our job as a responsible political organization, but we were also quietly planning for this day. And therefore, as part of our planning for this day, we took a careful look of Tobago. We looked at the important sectors that are critical to your development, and we came up with the big, bold red, the big deal. And I'm encouraging all of you PNM people and the people of Tobago that even if you don't want to read the entire document, go and read the sections of it, whether agriculture, tourism, economic development, national or Tobago security. Go and read the sectors that are most relevant to you. Because I'm saying to you that within that document, we are presenting to you big, bold, red, or what we're calling BBR for short. And the other side, with all the audacity in the world, is presenting to you BBS. And just in case you're having other ideas, it means billboards and bus sheds.
You dig?
So, before I leave this platform, I want to talk a bit to the public servants, those people working in the Tobago House of Assembly, especially those who are on contract employment, because I want you to compare and contrast the posture of my good self when I was Chief Secretary and the posture of this current Chief Secretary. I want you to compare and contrast the position of the People's National Movement and now the position of the Tobago People's Partnership towards Tobago House of Assembly workers. Because you see, in the past, you allowed them to hoodwink you, to cause you to believe that your party, the PNM, was the wickedest political party in the world. You allowed them to convince you that we in the PNM used to victimize people. But you know what are the facts? The PNM was so good, and we were so decent, and we were so honest. You know what used to happen? There were public servants in the THA who used to sit down for 4 years, undermine the administration. Then when election time come, they would be brave enough to put on their yellow jersey, or their blue jersey, or their black jersey, because of course over the years they changed colors many times while the PNM remained red. So they will put on their jerseys and they will go on the campaign trail and they will cuss London, they will cuss Conway Adams, they will cuss Tracy, they will cuss every single PNM secretary. Some of them even went up as candidates, lost the election, and come right back the Tuesday morning after the election and sit down on the walk. And nobody did them anything. You never heard about any of them being fired. You never heard stories about administrator calling people into office for commenting on something that Ansel Dennis posts, or for giving Ansel Dennis commentary a like. Imagine I post in my little reels, visiting farms, and people going on Gator Heart, an administrator calling them, telling them, be careful, the secretary is watching you. That is what we have come to. And public servants afraid. In fact, I passing through the crowd in this meeting, and I'm seeing THA workers quite up behind them tree there in the back hiding because they don't want to be on camera.
You dig?
So they're hiding behind the tree and they're cocking the ears. I'm inviting people to meetings and they're asking me if the meeting gonna be live. I say yes, it had to be live. We had to carry the meeting. Oh gosh, well I can't come because I don't want the secretary to see me. That is what we have come to in Tobago. Under this administration, Tobagonians are afraid to exercise their democratic right to support whichever political party they choose. On one occasion, and I'm telling you these stories now, I'm at a press conference. No, it wasn't a press conference, an interview on Tobago Updates. And somebody placed a very neutral comment. They ain't cost nobody, a neutral comment. But it happened to be during working hours. Administrator called them in. What you doing on Facebook during working hours? But guess what? An employee of the THA who works for one of the secretaries in the THA, was the one interviewing me. So she could interview me during working hours, being paid by the Tobago House of Assembly, but somebody else getting called in for commenting, sitting down behind the desk, taking in Tobago issues, keeping abreast of what is happening in Tobago, probably a little slow period, and they're getting called in and threatened. That is what we have come to. Under the last PNM THA, we standardized 3-year contracts. Guess what? They came in now and they carried us back to that place where some people getting 1-year contract, some people getting 6 months contract, because it boils down to whether the secretary like you or not, or whether they feel you are PNM or TPP. And I'm saying to you that when you elect the next PNM THA, we will take that power away from the secretaries and we will place it back into the hands of the public servants, and we will standardize every single contract, not at 3 years, but we're increasing it to 5 years.
You dig?
And I want to tell you why we are doing that. Because the Secretary of Health, the one who took $60 million of your money and squandered it away, 18 million in ambulances that we can't use yet, 4 park up by the fort. One was on a flatbed truck, a wrecker, some time ago driving through Scarborough, taking a drive. And I heard a young man said on Facebook recently, the ambulance we buy to carry sick people is being carried by the wrecker. So we have sick people and we have sick ambulances because we have a sick Secretary of Health and a sick THA administration.
You dig?
So 18 million on ambulances, $20 million on villas. Like the Division of Health is now getting into Airbnb. So they're going and buy 5 villas for $20 million. $8 million wasted renting ambulances because the ambulance they buy ain't working. About $9 million to rent incinerator, when a new incinerator would have cost the Tobago House of Assembly $500,000. That same Secretary of Health is on Facebook telling Tobagonians, support whichever political party you want with your chest. Be bold about it. No need to hide. That same Secretary of Health fired a young man by the name of Pete Gray, calling names. A man who worked in the Division of Health for years, who did his job to the best of his ability. And according to what the administrator wrote on file, he deserved his contract renewal for another 3 years. The Secretary of Health took it upon herself to write in the file that we're not renewing his contract. No reason was given, no justification was given. The secretary did that. In addition to that, they have been quietly calling people and threatening them about their Facebook comments. Threatening people to take away their bread and butter right here in this Tobago. But now she coming to tell you that you should talk brave. No, don't talk brave. I want some of you to hide. Because I want all you to keep all your THA work and keep all your bread and butter. So the people hiding by the tree continue to hide. I want you to hide and set like a mapipi until election day. Don't come out now at all. I want you to keep your work. I want you to keep your bread and butter. Because too many Tobagonians have already suffered. It was 43 they lick up in CPEP. They lick up another 200 across the THA. They lick down 67 down in TADCO. They lick down 15 in the community partnership unit. And they're licking down even farmers, taking away the deeds, taking away every single opportunity from them as soon as they identify with the PNM. So I don't want you to get licked down. I want you to hide and set for them. And when election day come, go to the polls and make sure you lick them down.
You respect that?
They are too wicked. They are too wicked. And I want to say to the people of Tobago that it is the express position of the People's National Movement that you are free to support whichever political party you want. We will not victimize you. We will not take away your bread and butter, because we consider all of us as Tobagonians and all of us as 60,000 children of God deserving of the very best. And I ain't just talking, I'm giving you evidence. Go and ask one of the biggest opposition to the PNM, Roland Murray, who is a farmer, and ask him about the kind of support and the kind of relationship we had when I was Chief Secretary and even after I came out of the office of Chief Secretary. And he will tell me to my face, I can't vote PNM. You know. And as far as I'm concerned, that does not matter to me, because that man is considered to be one of the better, most committed farmers on the island. And if we have programs to support farmers on the island, then he must be first in line, whether he support TPP or he support PDP or he support the People's National Movement. Tobago belongs to all of we. And therefore, if we're talking about putting Tobago first again, we're not talking about putting PNM people first again. We're talking about putting 60,000 people on this island first again.
You dig?
And the final thing I will say, because if you give me a chance, I'll talk all night. In fact, I'm now waxing warm. And it's the last speech for 2025, so I might as well go out with a bang. But the final thing I will say to you, people of Tobago, is they will come to you with all kinds of promises now. And you see, election day, you know there is a saying that says, birds that fly high must come down to die. Because some of them flying high. And the thing about this is whenever you're flying high, your landing does be hard. And that is why I always ensured that I stayed on the ground and that I stayed very low. Because whether I win election or I lose election, I must be able to walk Tobago with my head held high. And therefore, I am not in this for office. I am in this for service. And whether you, the people of Tobago, accept or reject me, I will always make myself available, God's willing, to continue to serve you, the people of Tobago, whether I am in office or out of office. So they will come to you over the next four I nearly say 4 years. So they will come to you over the next, 14 days. And they will come with all kinds of promises. And people who was wearing high heel shoes and they were too pretty to walk and visit the farms and talk to the farmers to find out their needs, they will suddenly put on Gideon boots and find you where you are. People who told you when you message them 6 a.m. in the morning to ask why your pay and reach the bank and they tell you to ease them up will suddenly come to your door looking for votes. And I will say to the people of Bellegarde and Glamorgan that I will be extremely disappointed in you if when fate call you out your house, or whether it be a Saturday morning or a Sunday morning, that you don't open your window and peep out and say, ease me up now.
You dig, you dig, you dig.
So they will come. They will come with promises. Because as we speak, they do not have anything to campaign on. They cannot come to you, the people of Tobago, with a clear case as to why they should be re-elected into office. In fact, they are so entitled, they are prepared to say to you, give us 4 more years simply because the PNM get 21 years. But tell them the PNM 21 years didn't come just like that. Don't watch my 21 years. My 21 years didn't come easily. Focus on your 4, because if you was focused on your 4 and you was minding your business, you would have given the people of Tobago a good first 4, so they would have probably considered you for a second 4. So they will come with promises that they will build this and they will build that. In fact, one of them is so bold and out of place. He's coming to you with the same plan that he came to you with 4 years ago that he could not even start. He coming with it again. And of course, they will come to you with ham. They will come to you with lamb. And they will come to you with jam. But I'm saying to you that come election day, January the 12th, ensure that you give them the ram when you go to the polling station and you go into the polling booth where it is you and your God alone, and you register that vote of conscience, you register that vote in the best interest of Tobago, and you register that vote even though you tell them you're going to vote for them. Just remember, it's you and God alone in the polling booth, and make sure you give them the ram. Make sure you ram the X next to the Balize. Make sure you ram the X for the CPEP workers. Make sure you ram the X for the URP workers. Ensure you ram the X for the Tobago contractors. Ensure you ram the X for the young people that get thrown out of school because they squander the scholarship money on overseas travel. Ensure you ram the X for your grandfather. Ensure you ram the X for your grandmother who can't get ambulance to come for them because we spend 18 million on 12 old broken ambulances. Make sure you ram it. Make sure you ram it. Make sure you ram the X next to the Balize so that we can say without a shadow of a doubt that great is Tobago, great is the people of Tobago, great is our God, and great is the PNM, and we shall prevail.
PNM. You dig, you dig.
Care of you, only the PNM has a plan. And service to the people, stable and strong. Only the one party you can depend on. PNM has a vision, PNM has a plan. We take care of you, PNM understands. We love you so, we take care of you, only the PNM understands.
You dig, you dig.
We love you so, we take care of you. Only the PNM has a plan.
Put the X by the Balize. Ram it. Ram it. Dip your hand down to your elbow.
You dig.
By the Balize. Pull it down, DJ. Pull it down. Pull it down, DJ. Ladies and gentlemen, we restart on Friday night. Somebody say Friday. Somebody say Plymouth. Somebody say Plymouth Black Rock. Somebody say Karen Forbes. Somebody say Akil Guy. Let Fali them know that when we finish in Plymouth Friday night, now Malco going to come and fix the road. We're not making joke. So we're looking forward to seeing every single one of you. Bring out everybody on Friday night. And you know this spot corner Shelburne Street in Plymouth. We going and get on bad. We taking no prisoners because we have a leadership crisis and the team PNM going to fill it. Ladies and gentlemen, have a wonderful night. Thank you for coming out and continue to support the People's National Movement. Put your ex by the Valencia on January 12th. Yeah, yeah.